Well, it's another day here at Wake Up with KC, and I'm I'm always fascinated about human beings. And I ask this question, how can you live your life with passion and love even as a transgender? And I have a very special guest that is beautiful and, oh my gosh, funny. And she joins us today. Please welcome Allison Church. Allison, thank you so much, gorgeous, coming on this. Oh, and I like your shirt, disco. I love disco too.
Oh, thank you very much. I'm happy to be here.
And first off, share with the audience a little bit about you and where you're
Okay.
from and in your journey, and when did you discover that you wanted to be the you that brings you great joy, happiness, and you just love being that you.
Well, I currently live in Kansas City. I am originally from Los Angeles. I am a California native. Um, I owe where I am to my parents moving around a lot when I was a child because they had to go where the work was. I didn't really understand who I was until I was in about 15. That's when I started noticing that I wasn't into sports. I mean, I could watch them for the thing that they were, but I didn't care. I gravitated more toward the female side of the street, and all my life I battled with denial because I tried to fight who I was. By the About 2020, I decided to take the turn and become who I am, and I've been happy ever since. This is the happiest I've ever been in my life. It's a sort of like the classic novel Lost Weekend. It took me a weekend of self reflection and agony to transform myself. And usually, with every birth, there's a little pain, but there was a lot of revelation. And learning to be who I am, to drop that former person, to become Allison, has been an adventure I wouldn't trade for the world. I'm
And
very happy.
I know there's, I mean, picking out shoes, picking out, the makeup and the wigs and the outfit.
Well,
That must be the fun part.
it is, but at the same time, there are a hell of a lot of wardrobe malfunctions and bad mistakes. I mean, when I first started, my eyebrows looked a cross between Ernest Borgnine and Joan Crawford.
Oh,
It
well,
was like
I have the same problem with my eyebrows too, so don't feel bad.
it was like Eugene Levy came and did my eyebrows for me,
Oh my
and
god.
finding the right colors that would go with my contours and my face. I just only recently had the courage to buy some dresses. So I have 3 dresses. I'm ready for spring. I want spring to get here. It's
Right?
been it's been amazing, and there have been some real moments of heartbreak because I've had friends ghost me. I've had friends treat me painfully polite, and I've lost my fair share. But I've made some great friends in the interim. Wonderful support groups, which I believe anyone who is having an identity crisis, has gender dysphoria, or something thereabouts, they should find for the just the simple fact of venting, be able to talk about stuff and complain. Why am I having bad hair days? Why am I so damn clumsy? And why can't I walk in high heels?
I still have a problem sometimes wearing high heels, so don't, it it's just high heels. You gotta, it's like, when you're a baby and you're learning how to walk.
Oh yeah,
So
yeah. That's what I am. And It's been like that. It's like day one. It's like just I'm learning how to reprogram my brain to be Allison. And it's not that it's hard. It's an adventure, and like everything, it takes some falling down and getting back up
Mhm.
to redo it. Especially the falling down and getting back up. Um, on the other side of the spectrum, I'm also a published writer, and I write horror, science fiction, fantasy, dark fantasy. Um,
Okay,
I've got a
how dark are we going with the dark fantasy?
well. There's one book where after the proverbial Third World War, um, a very very demented and twisted United Nations takes over the planet. And, you know, how dark things get and dystopias and stuff like that.
Mhm.
And religion is outlawed. So if anybody is caught, like if they stub their toe and say Jesus Christ, boom, that's either a life sentence or death. Kind of like with
Wow.
Fahrenheit, kind of like Fahrenheit
Wow.
451, with the forbidden print. It's like the same thing. They figured that the last war was caused by religious BS, and it became a scapegoat, and they couldn't get rid of politics, so they got rid of religion.
Wow, that is interesting because, I got out of religion knowing what I know
Uh,
now.
Me too.
But there is a history that people don't even understand of how it was originated and why and where that book actually came from.
Yep.
And there's a misconception about that. There's deceit and lies about it. And I feel like that is one of the biggest problems. We're living in a lie
Oh,
because
I
of
agree.
what a organization put together. You have a false identity of who you are. You're living in limited beliefs, mental programmings, even emotional energetic traumas because of it.
Yes, yes. My grandfather taught me something or said something to me when I was in my impressionable years that stuck with me. He told me, he said, God created faith, Satan created religion.
And my
So,
thing is there is really no such thing as Satan. There is a such thing as man.
that is true, but at the same time, it's a good kickback to the dark side of humankind. If you don't have another
Yeah.
name for it, you can
Oh,
call
it's
it that.
the ego.
Oh yeah, like the id. It's the bad part of everything that's in the collective. I don't know
Mhm.
what it is, but it seems like if it doesn't pay taxes or doesn't propagate, more people to get into the belief, suddenly it's evil and forbidden.
Hey, that's history repeating itself. And it's been going on
Yep.
for thousands and thousands and tens of thousands of years.
God, yes, and it's it's disturbing to me because there is so much potential there that can be harnessed and channeled to the people who desperately need help, and they're not doing it because of this lie that we're living.
You know what, Allison? The one thing that I can honestly say, especially to you and the others that want to be not like you, but be the best version of themselves,
Yes.
is be you. Be you, be happy no matter what, because in truth is you are God and you can be whoever you want to be, do whatever you want to do, and have whatever you want to have. You are experiencing God and itself in the human being that you're in.
Yep. I
We're
believe that.
all we're all spiritual beings, we're sexual beings inside of a human being experiencing life. That's it.
Yes, I believe that. That's a good analogy. Um, I actually explored that in one of my books. It's called Knowing God, and it's a story about a gentleman that goes through. He committed suicide and had a near-death experience. And when he came back, he was haunted by this rendering of a female that he saw in the proverbial tunnel of light, who simply just said, "Go back." And when he's back and he gets out of the mental ward, because you can't try to kill yourself and not have that consequence, he finds this girl, and she's the most perfect, annoyingly perfect person he's ever seen. It turns out that this woman is God. And she came down to find out why everybody is killing themselves, because it confuses her. She doesn't understand why. And from that voyage, you discover that everything about religion, everything about dogma, everything about belief, we've all gotten it wrong. And she's like, one time she's in a tirade in the kitchen, and she's talking, and she says, "You guys got it all wrong. You've rewritten it. Fall of empires, change of emperors, change of corrupt popes. I mean, and first off, Noah was a woman, and it was in the Garden of Eden. It wasn't an apple; it was a peach." So I totally rewrote everything in it, and I didn't do that to upset the people who have their beliefs, because even though my belief is different, I do not have the authority, nor do I think I have the right to take away other people's beliefs. It's just as sacred to them as mine is to me. And I want to say that perhaps dogma might be a little on the not so true side. And people should question something that they put their entire eternity in the hands of. That's
Well, I
just,
mean, religion is organized. It was created by
yes,
man.
yes, it was. And it was created to suppress women.
Thank you. Thank you. Because if people knew, that's why I was like, I don't want to step foot in any religion knowing what I know now.
No, no, I think, well, it
They're the
also,
biggest murderers in history of the world.
you know, there are also evidence that the reason why homosexuality, transgenderism, and all the other isms out there that aren't, you know, the staple of the faith, reason why they're not accepted by the church is because these people, through no fault of their own, can have children that can be propagated and programmed to stay in the religion. Once they die, there's no taxes that's coming from that, family unit. So these things have to be bad because,
Yeah, but you know what? They were doing it discreetly, sexually molesting, raping, but
yes.
yet, their authority. What is
Oh,
it saying? Don't do as I do, do as I say.
yeah. That's it. I would not want to be a um, ethically believing lawyer who had to work for those people.
Uh-uh.
That would be too much of a challenge for me, and I'm sure that there's been a few of them that have lived the agonies of the damn, wandering dark at like 3 o'clock in the morning.
It's law of
And
attraction. Hello,
yeah,
karma.
yeah, it's there's nothing in the Bible that I've been able to find that says that it's against God's will to have a priest have a wife. There's nothing in there that says that. I mean, if everybody says, "Well, Paul was a dick," don't listen. I mean, why are they just
Paul
listening?
was.
He was a dick. Let your women be silent in church. What?
Oh yeah. Oh, don't even get. And you know what? Matthew, Mark, Luke, and John, and there's forgery in first or second Peter. Paul, uh, you have to understand those parts were written after these guys died, and a lot of them were
Way,
illiterate and did not even know how to read because if
way
you,
after.
yeah.
Way after. I think the only one that came close was probably, I think it was Matthew, if I'm not mistaken. It was written like a century after uh, Christ was crucified.
Oh, there's so
according.
much more they that I've come to research, and I'm still like I'm learning so much more because I'm an intuitive. I ask a question and my guides show me. It might doesn't happen like within 24 hours, but in a few days time or a week or a month, it shows up. And I'm like, "Oh my god, I remember asking this question. Holy shit." I'm like, "Really? Oh my god." Because I could go back to Sumerian.
Oh
As
yeah, most of our core beliefs were, I guess, adopted by the Judaic faith during their dystopia, living in Babylon. I mean, that's why when you look at the story of Noah, it looks like it's telling two different stories because it's telling the story of Noah and the story of Gilgamesh, which they just kind of bled together.
plagiarism.
And it's not so much. I don't blame those people because it's human nature to have a parent figure. And like Sigmund Freud once said, he said, if there was not a God, more probable the mankind would have created him.
Oh wow.
So it makes you wonder if. And I'm not trying to, like I said, I'm not trying to destroy people's beliefs. Mine is that it's kind of like Moses is. If I'm going to believe in the Lord my God, he's going to have to come down and tell me himself or herself.
I just know that from my own experience, and that's another reason why I got a religion. I'm like, oh my God, we've had it all wrong for centuries, and
Yeah,
you have it all wrong. Like, because of my own experience, you know, connecting to that spiritual being, the higher self, and then this divine source, this greater intelligence that keeps my heart beating and I don't have to think about it, that keeps my lungs inhaling and exhaling, and I don't have to think about it. That's something amazing.
yes, yes. Um, one time I aired my beliefs like I'm doing here, and someone says, well, what God do you believe in? And I thought about it for a bit, and I said, I believe in the God that when I'm facing a desperate moment and I really need help, and I pray to that God at 3 o'clock in the morning. That's the God I believe in, not the Jesus Crispy, give money to Jesus person, you know. And
But if we were all gods, we all have the power to
true,
change.
true. And the
We're in
collective,
the image. It even said in a good book, we are all gods, and supposedly this Jesus Christ said, "Isn't it written in your laws that you are all gods?"
yeah. Um, if the collective good of man can be strong enough not to be inhibited by um, weaknesses, politics, or greed, I think that this could be a good planet in a couple generations.
Well, that's what, and you know what? We are the masters of our own destiny and the captains to our soul.
I agree.
And if we
I
want, and I was, I actually had a guest on my show, and I can't say who it is, very famous author, and he said something really profound. And he goes, if we all change our behaviors and demonstrate kindness, love, then we can shift and change to
agree.
make our world a better place for future generations. And he goes in more detail, but it's like energy. And when I talk about emotional energetic traumas, a lot of people are living in the past. We're all been living in the past. And he said, that's like the definition of insanity. You keep doing the same thing over and over and over. It's like history repeating itself over and over and over until you wake up and realize, I'm tired of doing the same thing over and over again. What can
Well,
we do to change that? It first has to change up here, change what's in here, and then act differently.
and make sure what comes out of here doesn't cancel the other two.
Yeah. Tell me about
That's
it.
the
I've
hard.
been working at like I'm like being more consciously aware of the words I speak. Like can't, want, and need are out, and hope are out of my vocabulary.
Well, except for if you say, "I hope I never say can't again."
I just say, you know what? I have faith that I will, I am is the most powerful two words, and what you put after I am starts the
Hmm,
manifestation creation.
I like that. I'm going to borrow that.
Go ahead. It's free.
Oh, one of the things that I try to always express to people, because I get asked this a lot, because I work at a place that I have to be the first responder to a lot of people. And they look at me and they give me this look of, they give me the look. And some of them will come up and say, "Are you trans?" And yes. And then they'll either go into the acceptance, denial, refusal of being who I am, or they'll say, "I have a cousin, brother, daughter, somebody who's done this. Is there any advice you can give me?" And the only advice I give them that comes from the heart is, whoever this person is in your life, first accept them.
Mm.
Then learn from them. And you just support them, because those three cardinal pillars saves a person's sanity. Because I agonized over my decision to change for almost a year before I actually had the courage to do it. And I work with retired state troopers, state police officers, and work with retired veterans who have had boots on the ground experience. This is not a demographic that accepts something like this, and they've known me for 15 years, and they've known me as Allison for the last two. And it was the most frightening thing I ever did, trying to step in front of these people in our squad room and tell them that I had gender dysphoria and that I was transitioning from male to female. And I sat there and I just lowered my head and I closed my eyes and I waited for the jokes, the crassness. I waited for the rejection. To their credit, not a single person, man or woman, denied who I wanted to be and accepted me. Now, with the test of time, true nature's always come out. There's been a very rare few who became first class patent pending dicks, and I just distanced myself from them. It's a hard thing to decide to reprogram your own circuit board.
Mhm.
It's an even harder thing to lose a friend because you thought that they had your back. And unfortunately, that is a reality. If there's any trans babies out there who are watching this, just realize some people just won't get it.
Yep, and just gotta love them where they're at. But
Yeah.
why should you, or any one of you, suffer and just because you want to be who you want to be? I just,
I
that to me is not the essence of God that I know and that I love. And I know what love is now. So I want to share with the world. It doesn't matter, what gender, what race, what color. It's like I'm seeing another God in this form. And I'm like, wow, I get to meet somebody that's experiencing life, going through this and wanting to be this way. And, you know, I want to see the joy.
well, I believe it's natural. It's a natural human condition to, at first, fear what you do not understand. And I guess some people in the course of their workaday world just can't grasp the idea of, taking it out of human form, of an apple wanting to be an orange. You know, to them it's like, but you're an apple. Why do you want to be an orange? And then when you try to explain it to them, instantly their ears close. They don't want to hear it. It's blah 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 blah.
But you know
And
what? The thing I don't like, I guess because I'm also a mom, and I always tell my girls, do and be whoever or whatever makes you happy, that gives you joy.
yes,
Don't worry about what everybody else is thinking. Do and be what makes you happy, what lights you up, because there's a reason why. Because you in the soul and your spirit are lining up to what you wanted to be here on earth. And it's just an adventure, it's a journey. You're going to experience things, but don't take it personal. Don't get too hard on yourself. As
yeah,
long as you know the target is, that's who I want to be. This is what I want to do. And this is what I want to have.
I like that philosophy. I also believe in past lives, so I'm thinking maybe one of my past lives bled into this one and is helping me guide my way onto the journey that I'm having now.
I'm so glad you said that. Oh my God. Yes. Because
Wow.
I feel like, when you're in your soul, I mean, I probably was a black man in a past life. I was probably a Chinese girl in a past life. I was probably gay in a past life. I was
Well,
a warrior.
all
I
things
was,
are
I was
possible.
poor. I was rich. I was a robber. I was a murderer. I was all these things in my past life.
I must have had a problem with heights in a past life because it's the only phobia I have. Once I get past the sixth floor of a building, my knees go wobbly. So maybe I did a swan dive off of San Francisco Bridge or something like that. I don't know.
But you know what? There's a past life regression that you can, and I call it hypnosis,
Hmm.
that you could go back in that where the root of why you have that phobia of that and
Hmm.
clear it up just like that.
That'd be fascinating. Yeah. I never gave it any thought. I mean, I always thought, what if I find out like I'm, like John Wilkes Booth or Typhoid Mary?
Well, I've
You
always
know?
had this, a- and I just had a lovely young lady on my show, and she talks about intuitive healing and Akashic records.
Oh,
So she
okay.
went into a little bit more detail of, you know, connecting to you at your soul level of where you're at, and then like guiding you into tapping into your Akashic records, and you know what's hindering you, what's blocking you, and help you heal and remove whatever it is so you can go forward. And I thought that was fascinating. I'm like, and she goes, you can change your mind. Energy is constantly changing. We talked about the psychics and the mediums and whatnot. And I just thought that was like, wow, I can change my Akashic records, go to my soul and say, okay, so this is what's going on. That could possibly happen. You know what? I'm just going to take a pencil and I'm just going to do the invisible eraser with my spiritual eraser. I'm like, I don't want to do that. Let's change it. And I want to do this kind of thing, and anything's possible. Nothing's impossible. And I think there's a lot of programming on that. And then, what we're taught with the programming about love.
Oh, yeah.
And I just want to demonstrate and be that love that I could give unconditionally to everyone, because everyone is a soul. We're all connected. We're just one big fucked up dysfunctional family. That's all.
Yeah. And family is complicated.
But if you could wake up and realize that we're all family, we're all connected to something greater and bigger. And what affects you affects me because of that soul connection. And
Kind of
we're
like a ripple.
all doing a disservice
Yeah,
to
kind of
not
like a
only
ripple.
ourselves, but to others, but we're also affecting the planet too.
Yeah, yeah.
Because
Um,
energy turns into matter. Hello.
yeah. Everything that's solid matter in this world was first thought up with, creative energy.
Mm-hmm.
Even the bad things, unfortunately.
You know. But
Maybe
I
maybe that's
oh
the price of being having free will in the universe. Maybe it's like be careful what you wish for, kind of thing.
right. And or be careful what you think about because energy flows where attention goes.
Yes, it accumulates like magnetism.
Oh yeah. And
Hmm.
there's something uh you have with you have a passion for sci-fi.
Yeah.
And
Uh,
I don't know, you could probably go back and look, but I had Star Trek Laura Banks from the Wrath of Khan as a guest on my show.
ooh,
And we talked about Ricardo
Ricardo Montalban.
Montalban. I have a problem sometimes pronouncing my words. Sorry, but and I'm not
That's
sorry.
okay.
This is me. If I pronounce it wrong, don't be take it personal. But she talked about him, and she also is into astrology.
Really?
Yes,
Make
she has
eh,
her own radio show and everything. So I just wanted to share that with you, so you could go back and look at my past episode with Laura Banks, and you could
okay.
probably connect with her because you're a sci-fi. Star Trek. You love Star Trek.
Yeah, I would like to see on whatever property they want to do it on. I would like to see the reaction and muscle memory of a starship crew having to adjust to the fact that the token hero on the ship, kind of like ensign alpha male, just did this big thing. He's a hero to the Federation, a hero of Starfleet. And at the beginning of the episode, before the trailers come on, which is called the teaser, he walks into the doctor's office and says, I want to continue my service and my duty to the Federation as a woman. And then everyone on the ship, not so much that they don't like what this person's doing, because in the Star Trek universe and Dogma, everybody accepts everybody.
Hmm.
But the muscle memory of the crew's dynamic changing from ensign alpha male to ensign female, have to get used to the fact that Jim's got a new, is now Jamie, or he is now a she. And then everybody having to deal with the fact that this drop dead gorgeous officer, uh, going past her memory, her heart, her mind, is somebody else that they have to go through like Star Trek's all about exploration. They have to explore who this new person is. I think that would make a wonderful show, and if they could make it a permanent character, better. It would be something that everybody can look on and say, well, this is what we signed up in Starfleet for. This is why, as a fan, I watch Star Trek, to explore new worlds, even if they are strange. That would be so
Right.
wonderful. But
Well,
you know,
I find fascinating with some of these sci-fi things.
hmm,
There's different, I guess, ETs. There's different, they're all different colors, different sizes, and and they're just communicating with each other. And
yeah,
being an intuitive transmedium, and I channel, extraterrestrial beings, celestial
cool.
beings. and ancient civilization beings. I have no idea when I start channeling with them what I'm saying. They come in, speak a message, and I come back going, okay, I'm not sure what that was. And I couldn't even translate it for the not for the life of me, but I get like little like words here and there and trying to piece it together. It just takes longer for me to interpret. And I'm just like, that's too tiring. I just like just speak the message. And it's so funny because I have a hard time speaking Italian, French, and Spanish. But when they come in and channel, it's like I'm having a full length conversation talking to somebody, even though I have no idea what I'm saying. And I think that's my it is a gift and I'm exploring it.
Oh
And
yeah, I envy that gift. I wish I had it.
oh, you have some gifts, sweetie. Just wait. Just wait. You're intuitive too.
Yes. To do, I'm in law enforcement, and to do my job, I have to actually read body language. I have to understand what I can comprehend of the human condition. Um, I have a great responsibility not to be the loose cannon that always seems to get up on the 6 o'clock news. And to a certain extent, even the person that's yelling at me that's this far from my face, I am there to serve them as well.
Hmm.
And I will admit, sometimes I've had the temptation to say what's on my mind, but there's always this thing in the back of my mind that closes that door before it opens. And I thank, you know, Providence for it. That,
Your spirit guide for sure.
yeah, and she, it does a wonderful job because I like serving people. I've, um, I've been doing this for 15 years, and my personality is shifting as I transition. And unfortunately, this job doesn't really appeal to me anymore because I'm seeing the faults and kinks in the armor.
Hmm.
And I'm thinking about evolving my craftsmanship along with my tutorial of becoming a different person.
Hmm.
And what that is, I don't know, but it's exciting.
Yeah, it's a new beginning, a new life,
Yeah.
transitioning and becoming. Because you got, and I don't think a lot of people understand is if you want to become that person, whoever it is, whatever it is, you got to let the old
Yes.
go, remove whatever of that part of your past
Yeah,
to
but
create space for the new.
yes, yes. Don't get me wrong. The one transgender phrase that everybody used for their past life is their dead name. I do not dishonor or totally reject who I was. I honor who I used to be because without that person, I would not exist today. Because it was that person and me that when we were almost one, I honestly believe that your dead self had to also agree for you to become your new addition, so to speak.
Mhm.
It's a mutual step forward, and even though one soul is saying goodbye, you got to honor the new soul who you are now. Has to honor who you are because if you do not pay attention to your past, I honestly and firmly believe you will have no future.
Mhm.
So even though I no longer go by my birth name, um, I don't refer to it as a dead name. It's an important and vital part of who I used to be. That might separate me from some transgender people, but at the same time, when someone calls me by my original name, I give them the stare of death because that phase of my life is over.
Right.
Please,
And it's
you know,
just respecting that
yeah,
go by this.
simply.
Like my daughter changed her name, that I gave birth to her. She chose a different name. She said, it makes me happy. I really like this name. Found out what it meant and whatnot. And I'm like, okay,
Well, and
this is the name that you want to be. But, she gets upset with me sometimes. And I'm just, being a mom and it's her, my daughter, she gets really like, Mom, I'm non binary gender kind of thing. It's they, there. So I'm like, well, you got to be patient with me. This is like something.
it's a process. It takes time. It's like learning a skill.
Yeah, that's what I'm trying to do, and I'm like, it just confuses me more, to be honest, it does. I'm like, "Oh my god," like, I could
Well,
get used to, okay, if you're a he and now you are, a she, okay, but the they and them and whatnot, that I can't get my head around that yet.
well, I always, if when I can't understand something like that, and believe me, there are some people like that that I momentarily pause. I always remember how it was for me when I was stewing the decision of coming out, and how confusing it was for me because, like people who were calling me, gender misgendering me or calling me by my dead name, um, I was doing that too. I would be thinking to myself, and I would address myself as my former self. And then I would mentally go inside and slap me and say, no, 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 that person's gone. This is who you are. It took me a long time to get my training wheels. And then after I got my training wheels, I had some transgender friends tell me, nah, nah, you ain't even out of kindergarten yet. Just wait. It is an adventure. And if it's truly meant for you, you will know it. Um, this might sound bad, but I was happy when I came out that my parents were no longer here. Both of them have passed. My father was a ex drill sergeant.
Ooh.
He would have killed me because in his eyes he was losing his only son, and any uh, plans or schemes he had for grandchildren imploded, would have imploded, and he could not live with that. Um, my mom, she would not have liked it either, but my mom was a more diplomatic person than my father was. She would have had the good manners to keep it to herself.
Mhm.
She would have shown support. I don't think it would have been heartfelt. I do have two siblings. Both of them live in Phoenix, and my youngest sister is still having problems with Allison. She at first totally rejected me, didn't want anything to do with me. Then after about a year and a half of stewing, she finally came back and wanted me to try to explain it to her. How can you explain living a lie and then one day waking up to give it up for the truth? So I did my best, and she said she'll give me a chance. We're talking now, which is a start.
Mhm.
My oldest sister totally accepted me. She kind of likes the fact that she's no longer the oldest sister, and she likes having a big sister. And but we learn by doing. We learn by trying to understand, and most important, we learn by learning. And all knowledge is learning, and therefore considered good.
And my thing is there's really nothing good, there's really nothing bad. It's just being.
Yeah. The only time I think it comes into the gray area is if the being causes harm. Then it should be questioned. It should be
Yeah.
okay. This, you know, it should be.
When you're doing something, that's a selfish or self-centered, and it's not selfless. You see what I'm saying? And I think if people would just, human beings, start waking up to, you know what? It's not worth, you know, harming somebody else because all you're doing is hurting yourself in the long run and then it bites you in the ass later. So why do
Denial.
that? I never understood, like, why do that? Because you know what? When you do something that hurts somebody else, you hurt yourself and it's gonna backfire. It's law of attraction. It's universal law.
Yes. And denial is a bitch. You got to understand who you are, what you are, and how you're going to become that person. It has to be a synchronized goal between
Mhm.
those three questions.
And the thing
That
is, it's like, why, I know about the when you agree that the reason why people lash out is because they're really hurting and they've been through something and they're lashing out.
yes. Whenever I have to deal with people who are suicidal, and I discover that that person is also a transgender person,
Oh.
I I always volunteer to go in first to talk to them for two reasons. I am transgender. I understand the monster that they're wrestling. And two, I hate to cheapen what I'm saying, but it's a tactical response because when I walk in and they see me in my uniform with my weapons on my belt and everything, it's a genuine WTF moment for them. Because,
You could say
you know,
what the fuck.
okay, yeah, it's a genuine what the fuck moment. Because on my identity, I have proudly blazing at the bottom of it a transgender flag. If they don't know, by the time I go in there, 5 minutes after I'm there, they'll know more than they want to know because I am an under total disclosure thing. Um, some of my transgender friends say you're shooting yourself in the foot. You don't have to tell these people. I'm going, Jesus. These people are on the precipice of taking their own life. I got to let them know that I do understand what they're going through. I contemplated that. I didn't do it, but
So those transgenders are
there's
really
a really
s- somewhat staying in the closet. They're not being their true authentic selves and being like you are now, right?
yes, they are in the genesis of becoming. And
Oh.
sometimes, like I said, birth has some pain. And one of the pains is that they're telling their parents and their family that they're becoming another person. What I
Oh.
try to do with an open heart is I accept them and tell them that I understand what you're going through. Let's talk about it. And then after I do that and they're on solid ground, I say, also, please understand that's your parents slash siblings slash relatives. They're going through a mourning too, because in their eyes, they're losing the person that they love too. And it's your job, or at least your task, to inform them they don't have to lament over the loss of this person. That person is still inside and loves them very much. And I also try to tell the parents that too, that this person that's changing and is doing a very brave and dangerous thing because change does bring an inherent danger with it. But if the pluses outweigh the minuses, it's gonna be a good change. And I consider it my duty to help those who don't understand the confusion, the pain, the quagmires, the paradoxes, all these things that are crashing into their brain pan. That there is a light at the end of the tunnel, and the light is more than an oncoming train.
Well, I mean, wouldn't it be safe to say, Allison, that, when you're already struggling because you're denying
Yes.
your uh, yourself that wants to be another way, in another, not, well, I guess another form. It's just like you're not happy where you're at. You're not happy with who you are, and growing up and the confusion, and everything. And then when you start saying, well, wait a minute, that really makes me more happy if I could wear this. I love makeup. I love, so to me, it's okay. You discovered what really gives you joy and who you want to be.
Yeah.
Fuck the
Uh,
rest. Be it.
yeah. And one of the words or the magic words that I like using when I'm in a conference with the family and the transgender person in question, the magic word is evolution.
Hmm.
It was the parents' job to raise this child, and they've done a wonderful job. They've reached a point in their evolution where, in order to exist any further, they have to change. Change is a major factor in life. I don't care what your orientation is in this world. If you do
Hmm.
not change, you will stagnate. And stagnation never ends happily.
Oh,
It
yeah.
is
I
not,
see that constantly every day.
yeah, it is not your right. It's not my right. It's not the people watching's right to stop somebody in the course of their evolution. We may not understand it. We may not condone it. But I think the worst crime would be not allowing it to happen.
Oh, yeah. I agree with you.
Yeah, it's
Let them be.
exactly.
And you know what? I have something that I'm going to create. I'm in the process of creating, and uh it has something in reference to being me.
Hmm.
And I'm getting ready to launch and promote it because of my season. It's just there's some formalities and getting things going in that aspect, but I would love to, when it comes together and becomes a physical thing,
Hmm.
uh, give that to you as a gift.
I would appreciate that. I love watching creativity in all forms. Post production is one of the funnest things. I mean, it's absolutely amazing because you you get in a room with people, you go crazy on chalkboards, you go crazy with post-it notes, and then you collaborate. I
Yes,
love that
the
part.
Post-it notes.
I was looking at that. Yeah, I was thinking that. I'm going, this is someone who her month is like full.
Oh yeah, you haven't seen my planner. And now I'm
I,
like, okay, because I take this show, this is my baby, this is my business, this is my career, and I'm running a one-man show right now.
I understand. Um
You
it's
gotta
like
be in like organizing your time management, rescheduling, and adjusting, and I work a part-time job, and I'm going to online school.
I'm taking classes in child psychology so it could help me a little bit more when I have to deal with people who are going through what I'm going through.
Mhm.
I like the idea of going into somebody's mind and conquering the demons, for lack of a better metaphor.
Mhm.
It's the human mind has always fascinated me. I think that's why I write. That's why I write because I like. Everybody says that the heroes are important, but when I'm writing something and I have a dark villain, it's like before I even write the first descriptive of this person, I have to know this person's lifeline. I have to know everything in their life in that one dark moment that turned them from an angel into a demon. Because it's in learning that you also learn about yourself. Because one of my favorite heroes, as far as literature goes, was the writer Sir Arthur Conan Doyle, who's known for creating Sherlock Holmes. He was once asked, did he have any of the abilities that he gave Sherlock Holmes? And he said, yes, of course. In order for me to create it and describe it in an entertaining way, that element of that character's persona had to be within me. And in learning demons, fictional demons, I can learn a little bit more about myself. And that's the exciting part of writing to me.
Wow. And I have to give you you're a first responder. You are the most amazing, beautiful goddess.
Thank you.
And it's been truly an honor and a pleasure to meet you.
Same here.
And I would love to stay in touch. And I'm gonna get you that gift. Just wait. Do you like coffee or tea?
I like both. I go both ways, but I
So
like
do I.
just regular coffee. But in keeping in tradition with my Star Trek fandom, I do like Earl Grey tea,
Ooh, okay.
and I like it
Um,
hot.
I will definitely you need to email me your address so I could ship it to you.
I will.
And I think you'll like this.
Oh, cool.
And
Let
I'm
me.
just like, we gotta meet up. If you ever come down to South Florida, you better let me know, Allison, because I would love to take you out and show you around and meet some interesting friends that I know that are transgenders, cross dressers. It's like I don't care. It just be happy, be you. As long as you be you and you like being who you are, that gives me joy.
I used to live in St. Petersburg back when I was like 12 years old.
Oh, really?
Yep. My dad worked for Exxon Oil and worked down in the Gulf there, and we lived in Clearwater, St. Petersburg, and then we lived in a little town called Dunedin, which I assume is not so little anymore. So,
What city?
Dunedin.
Dunedin.
It's like between St. Petersburg and Clearwater.
Okay, I've never heard of it, honestly, and I'm a Floridian. Hello.
Yeah,
I
we all
probably
lived
walked
on.
by there doing like 80 miles an hour on the turnpike somewhere, and I wasn't paying attention.
It's all good. It's all good. Florida was wonderful. I loved the beaches, and Clearwater, for its name, had like some of the clearest water I ever saw. Even to this day, I mean, I remember it in my mind. It left an impression. It's
Wow.
nice.
Well, I love it. I left it for a year. I went to Texas because my oldest daughter blessed me with my second granddaughter. Then we got hit with Harvey. So,
Mm.
I tried it out because I lived in Florida most of my life. And, when I was a kid, yeah, we moved. But as an adult, I didn't do it. So it was just an opportunity and I took it. But when I got back to Florida, I was like, I'm home.
I can get that. I miss Los Angeles, and every now and then I want to go there. But three things keep me from doing it: COVID, cost of living, and the earthquakes. I can live without the earthquakes. I mean, yeah, they have tornadoes here, but meh.
Oh, I deal with the hurricanes here, but it's like I so appreciate, the sunrises and the sunsets. I get both.
Yeah. I
So
remember I saw a lot of amazing sunsets when I was staring out at the Gulf. So yeah, I can see that.
so definitely let me know if you're gonna come and visit. I would love to hook up and just
I
celebrate.
just uh, I just sent you on a private
Yep, I
chat
got
by
it right
accident.
here.
Boom! So
Oh, and
instantaneous.
I wish you the best of success. Mwah.
Thank you. And if you ever want me to come back, all you got to do is just invite me. I'll be happy to accept.
I will for sure. Well, there you go. That was a touching, and I love her spark, her passion, and her being the best version of herself. And you never know who I'm going to get on this show. Got to keep staying tuned to Wake Up with KC. Until then, keep watching.